I was born in New York, Beacon, New York, and at the age of 7, we moved to Puerto Rico. So basically grew up in Puerto Rico for 10 years after. My dad is Puerto Rican, my mom is Cuban.
And so you lived in Puerto Rico for how long?
From 1987 until 1997 when I graduated high school.
Sports in Puerto Rico, baseball was a big deal, right?
Absolutely, and there was nothing more than sports to do in Puerto Rico besides going to the beach. So it was basically in the morning, we cleaned the house. We were told, go clean the house, get everything ready, and then go and play outside until the, street lights came on. So we did anything from volleyball, baseball, football, believe it or not ice hockey, unfortunately. But we did a lot of hiking and going to, the beach, fishing, and those sort of things.
And so did you play in any team athletics in school?
Not necessarily. I did badminton when I was in 8th grade. It was great, but not in school per se. There wasn't a league. The town was a small town, so there wasn't really a sports league or teams. And
at what point in your life did you know that you were gay?
Oh, I think probably when I was 3 years old. I used to wear my dad's handkerchief as a skirt when I was about 3 years old. So I kind of figured there was something different with me. Didn't know what it was, but at that age I can just remember, doing that. So pretty much growing up, I knew I was gay. People around me knew I was gay. It wasn't, I don't really have a coming out story, which I kind of, miss the fact that I don't have a coming out story, listening to other people that do have their stories. But the fact that it was easy for me to be able to be who, I am, didn't feel discriminated. It was just great. But that was my coming out story. It just transitioned from being, a kid to, being who I am. I would say that where I grew up in Puerto Rico, there were several gay people. My art teacher was gay. Another person that lived in the same community, he was gay as well. So my family was always around these people. They were around these people. Members of the community were around these people. So it wasn't something new. It wasn't like there's only one person, or we just found out one person is gay, or somebody came in new to the community, they're gay. So they were used to having gay people around, and lesbians for that. So I think it was pretty normal where I grew up. So, but I do realize and understand how difficult it is for previous generations. Even now, I think that it is very difficult given, the political climate, or given, that people just don't feel safe in certain areas. And I think that where we live now, we live in a bubble that is just, I'm grateful to be in a place that I'm at, that I don't have to worry about being discriminated, even though it's still, going on. So after high school, right after prom, the day after, I took the first flight here. My mom lives in Hialeah, so I came to live with my mom. I signed up to study at Miami-Dade Community College, and I worked at Kenny Shoes after school. And then, that was my week, going to college, then going to work at the shoe store at the mall. After that, I worked for another company, telephone company, and then I decided to sign up at school to take a paralegal course. I always wanted to either be in law enforcement or to become a lawyer. So I took a paralegal course. I did my associates in that. Then I went to Barry University and I got my bachelor's degree in legal studies.
Very good.
And at that point, I had already been working as a paralegal, starting at the state attorney's office in Miami and doing, private criminal defense, and now where I'm at in private practice. I moved from Miami to Fort Lauderdale in 2007. I used to live in West Miami at that point, and by then I was already playing in the league.
So how did you become associated with the league?
So in 2005, during the Stonewall Parade, I was up here with one of my friends, Dennis, and we went to the Old Eagle. I believe it was by a boardwalk. And we saw an advertisement for the league on the TV screen. So we're like, oh, and of course, in the middle of our drunken, festivities, we're like, oh, we should, try the league and join it. And we did. The next day I signed up, and we just, when they were doing the recruitment, we got called, to come out for tryouts, but then Hurricane Wilma happened. So then that whole season was a washout in 2005.
And so how did that change, your life in terms of how you spent your free time?
It was just great. It felt that I had an outlet that I could, after going to work, that it didn't involve just, going to the club and drinking till 5 o'clock in the morning, or just, hanging out at the beach. I wanted to do something different. And the league softball afforded me to be able to do that. And I enjoy sports. I played baseball, I played, softball. So it was something that it's not like I had to learn. I enjoyed doing it, so I already knew how to do that. And I also met a lot of incredible people, started in the league. So it's just, yes, I had my friends in Miami, I had my family, but just coming up here and seeing this different world, it was just great. So I moved in 2007, I moved from West Miami to Fort Lauderdale, where I lived in Hollywood for a bit, and then moved to Wilton Manors, actually behind the old New Moon.
And how did your life change living up here versus down in West Miami?
It was just the fact that we had a big community here. Because Miami, the LGBTQ plus community has been diminishing in Miami, I feel, especially South Beach, down in South Miami, there were a couple of clubs that you can go to, a couple of bars, but we didn't really have a gay scene, a place that I felt comfortable that I could be at and not worry about, oh, if I'm too flamboyant, or if I'm, if we're talking about having certain conversations that most straight people wouldn't be comfortable with, gay people talking about, discussing in the open.
Being part of a LGBTQ athletic association, how did that, make a difference for you?
It's the fact that I could just do physical activity, be around people that I consider my family, people that are like my best friends, that that know my deepest secrets, that are there to support me. The fact that we get to travel, have fun, meet other people around the country it's been great. The entire experience has been like beyond my wildest dream that I would have ever thought that I could have, joined such a great organization, meet the people that I have met, and just do all the things that I've done and accomplished with the league in general. Because besides playing, I've done other, volunteer in other aspects within the league and with our national parent league, IPS.
And the socializing, have there been a lot of people that you've seen through the years who've dated within the league, or how does that go?
They say never where you work, but I have, and my best friend, Tim, which he's the Hall of Fame chair, I dated back in 2009, and to today we're best friends. There's no interest, other than just being best friends, but he's just like my best friend that I can just pick up the phone at any time and call him, and he'll be there. Ralph, who you interviewed, I call him my grandmother. He's just an amazing, amazing friend that he's always been there for me. And besides them, I didn't date Ralph, but he's a very good friend of mine. There were a couple other people that I dated, and after that, I came to the realization that it was not a good idea. So I left it at that. Just date outside the softball world. It was pretty significant. There wasn't a league, and not a league. I'm sorry. There wasn't a season at that point, so it just stopped. There wasn't a World Series. I believe the World Series there wasn't a World Series that year, but we did have the Hurricane Showdown. So we didn't know what to do. The bars were closed, restaurants were closed. It was, everything was just operated at a minimum capacity. So we just did our happy hours via Zoom. Everybody was at their home. I unfortunately, had COVID several times during the whole COVID period. So I had friends that would come over. We will sit in my driveway and just have like our social distance happy hour. But we always kept in touch, always made sure that, we were okay, that, if anybody needed support, that's, what we did until softball season started again.
I mean, there were some other people with COVID, right?
Yeah, there were other people with COVID. There were people who died. Shannon, he was a BSO deputy. He passed away from COVID, unfortunately. Right. And that was hard. With Shannon Bennett, yes. And that was a very hard hit on the league. It was very, and I will say devastating, because he was very loved. He was, his smile, you can just pick it, from 20 million miles away. And he was just a great, amazing human being. So that was the fact that we just couldn't be and embrace each other during that period when he passed away, I think made it even harder, because we had to stay away because of, the pandemic. But I think when we had the Hurricane Showdown in 2020, I think everybody was ready to, get out and just play again. So I think at that point, it was clear that people were just, dying to get out there, go back again and just be part of the league that we were, part of prior to COVID. There are a lot of Hispanic people in the league. I would say, if I were to gauge by percentage, I would say probably about 20% of league members now are of Hispanic Latin descent. When I started in 2005, myself and Dennis were the only two Latin people in that team. But there were several others that I met when I joined the league. It's changed. I believe it's changed a lot, but I have to thank the people that came before me, who fought so much and still, and are still fighting. Because it's just like when you think that everything is already worked out and we're to a safe place, we just regress back another 20 years because of the political climate. So I think that I don't think that we have it difficult, but I don't believe we have it much easier either, because there is so much work that still needs to be done.
And why today would the league be even more important than, say, maybe 5 years ago?
I believe that I think that it gives us a safe space. It's a safe haven for a lot of people who feel that they'll be discriminated. And it's nothing new that you can probably walk on the drive and get yelled some type of slur with, some, a-hole that's driving a tall truck because of the political climate. I think that because we have this league, we have this space, people feel comfortable coming together in our league and being able to express themselves and being who they are without fear of somebody, attacking them or, physically attacking them or verbally or, or just feeling out of place.
So you still play?
Yeah, I still play.
And when were you inducted into the Hall of Fame?
In 2022. And
so what did you do in order to become a Hall of Fame member? How did that happen?
Oh, I wish I would have brought my resume. So I started, like I said, in the league in 2006 officially. I coached a team to the World Series in 2009 in Milwaukee, the Bills Bombers, and they won 4th place of the World Series. I've always volunteered in the league, from the Hurricane Showdown, tryout days. I was a member of the bylaws committee. Then I became chair of the bylaws committee for the league. I was appointed as a director of recruitment for the league for 2 years. And then following that, I went to several other World Series. I continuously volunteered the league. I won the Volunteer of the Year award because of my volunteering in the Hurricane Showdown. And then I became a member of the ethics committee for the league, and then a member of the ethics committee in IPS, our national league.
But at the height of your involvement, when you were Volunteer of the Year and doing all these other things, how much time did you put in?
Well, for example, last year for the Hurricane Showdown, it's an event that goes from Tuesday, that's registration, until Sunday that the tournament ends. I think I put in over 120 hours. Like, sleep was very minimal. So I would just go home, shower, leave, and then just do it all over again. So basically that was very busy. Planning for the Hurricane Showdown was very busy. I was the tournament director for the Hurricane Showdown for 2 years as well. So yeah, it's a lot of work. planning before. So basically the day after the Hurricane Showdown ends, you're planning for the next year already. You know, getting the hotel contracts, getting, you know, sponsors, you know, getting designs done and stuff like that for the next year. The league to me means, and I won't say a second family, I would say a primary family that I found in addition to my primary family. I didn't get to pick my family, my blood relatives. I got to choose my league, you know, family, and it's just been an amazing run with the league. I have friends that, like I said before, they have been there for me on my lowest and while I'm at my highest, and we just, you know, we just have formed a bond that has just been amazing. And I don't think that, and I know it might sound as a cliche that anyone can break that bond that we formed. And thanks to softball, to the league, to something that we had in common other than just being gay. So, you know, I think that was great to be able to meet all the people that I've met that are, you know, my best friends, you know, now.